The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss growing indoors over winter, as well as perennials that like poor soil. Our guest is YouTuber Mike VanDuzee will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. The hour's full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. I'm your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're listening to us on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies, broadcasting our program here in 2024 through our radio app, through our parent website, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Underneath the Season 8 tab at the top of the page, podcast replay, or if you're choosing to watch it on in-studio video replay, thank you very much. You want to be part of the program? You certainly can do that by sending us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call toll-free, coast to coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's toll-free, 1-800-927-7469. Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
Why did the grape go out with a prune?
Well, it's not a dirty joke, is it?
No.
Okay. I'm just...
Family friendly only on the garden show.
Okay, I didn't know.
He couldn't find a date because a prune is like a date, I think, or something.
Yeah, a dried prune is a date.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so this week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family home and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at rescue.com. That's rescue.com.
Oh, well, it's getting to be that time in certain portions of the country where the outdoor gardening time frame is dwindling. And you may want to continue that activity over the winter months, but you don't want to go through the expense or the effort of doing a high tunnel or a low tunnel or investing in a possible greenhouse or something of that type of environment. But you can grow indoors very simplistically, and we'll go over some of the things in which you can grow, we've grown, and have been successful at growing.
So the first one, and it doesn't, I know like a lot of people think about this, but then a lot of people might also not think about this, is herbs. And a lot of people often miss this one. Maybe you think, okay, I only grow herbs outside. I've never tried growing them indoors. But herbs are fairly easy to grow out indoors. And you can simply do it on a windowsill. It's not something that has to be complicated. And then this way you have fresh herbs year-round.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a winter thing. You can do it year-round.
You can do it year-round. And the nice thing is that some of these are, or most of these are, cut, come again, etc.
Basil, sage, rosemary, they have their own little quirks about them, but we had done that for years, getting an old hanging basket container and utilizing it on a south-facing window. And the window location is key, too. You're not going to have as great success on a north-facing window as you would on a south-facing. That's number one spot. And number two is either west or east.
Right. So, yeah, you want to keep in mind that you have to think about the window. And the good thing is that most people hopefully have the option of growing in one of these prime real estate windows. And it's just like growing anything else. You have some soil, you grow the plants, you grow the seeds, etc. It's something that you could even start now, or could start midsummer, or start any time of year. And it's an option for growing indoors. Another option is,
based on the type of herb, if you've got it growing outside, you can propagate it in some water and then bring it in and root it and start it indoors as well. Or get it growing a jump start on it.
that's a really good point also is, yeah, you can bring it in. So then root crops, especially radishes only take 30 days to grow about. And so and this is something, if you have kids or yourself, you can do this and it's fun and exciting. I would personally do this if I had children, I would probably do this like right after Christmas, while you kind of have that, if you celebrate Christmas, if you have that window of time between especially if you start seeds indoors and you have like that lull in January, you could be like, how are radishes doing? And
now, disclaimer, when we grew radishes indoors, we did it underneath a grow light. We did not try to do that on a south-facing window due to the fact of the winter time was less light. So we did do it under a grow light. So keep that in mind.
You could still do it, I think, in a south-facing window.
It would be more of a challenge due to the lack of light or the limited amount of light in the winter.
That could be another lesson if you have children is, hey, this is what happens during the colder part of the year where we have less light. So lettuce, microgreens, spinach, all of those are good options, especially microgreens. Sometimes, even though you can go to the store and buy fresh, I guess we could call it fresh lettuce, it's nice to have something in your home that you can add or eat or whatever to whatever you're cooking or enjoying.
This can be done without grow lights.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all those are good options. I would stick with leaf lettuce or microgreens. Have you ever grown spinach inside?
No, we have not, but it would be, I would go microgreens is the simplest, and you just need a mason jar and a screen to hydrate the seeds, then rinse them off. And then lettuce would be the next in the list, and then spinach would be your third and final group of that three that you can do.
Now, this is not something that requires any light, and it would be sprouting seeds. And there are all sorts of seed sprouting setups that you can purchase. But
are we referring to microgreens or just in general? Oh, sprouts. Sprouts and microgreens are different.
Yes, yeah. I'm talking about sprouted seeds. Sprouts, like some people are more familiar with alfalfa sprouts. This is
like some sub shops will put those on a sandwich.
Yeah, I don't think they really do that anymore.
Okay, that was years ago. Never mind. Disregard that.
Popular before. So sprouted seeds, we've done this, and if you go to our home website, what do you call it?
The parent website. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com.
You should be able to find us talking about this in a video from probably about 10 years ago.
Yes.
But you basically take a mason jar, and some sort of loose, you can do like pantyhose or a screen for the top of it, and you simply put your seeds in there. Broccoli seeds work well. Radish seeds work well. Chia seeds work well. These are all good options for sprouting.
Earlier, I mentioned the screen thing. I was confused. I misspoke about. I was talking about microgreens. You're growing the seedlings to a very small stature, harvesting them. Sprouts you're growing them in a jar with no soil.
Right, yeah, sprouted seeds. And so then you get the sprouts wet or the seeds wet. Leave them for a few days, kind of rinse them every day, and then eventually you get sprouted seeds, and that is something green and fresh, and they're also very nutritionally dense, which is awesome. So that's a good option. I actually think maybe I'll do that this winter. That would be fun. So sprouted seeds. So some other things that are not edible. I don't think they're edible.
No, they're not.
Geraniums.
Geraniums can be propagated from outdoor plants. We've got geraniums growing in our window there. Man, some of them are in party cups from 3 years ago that continue to survive in some form or fashion. Terrible plant parents we are. But they do quite well in the window sill. And if they get too big, just cut them back. We've done some dramatic cutbacks on some geraniums, and they have survived some very harsh haircuts.
Yeah. And actually, our cat keeps messing with one of them, so we're going to have to figure that out. He wants the dead part.
All cats seem to want dead plant life of some sort.
Yeah. So
he's not the only one. There's other ones that won't eat catnip until it's dead, and then they'll go crazy for it.
Right.
Or cat grass.
Cat grass, whatever it is. I don't know what the appeal is, but yeah. So geraniums, coleus, that's another one you can propagate, especially if you have a friend who has a coleus is just like beautiful leafy plant that is an accent to a lot of a lot of plantings outdoors, especially in places like along the sidewalk of municipalities or outside of buildings.
If you're not familiar with a coleus is, Google that. There is some phenomenal, unique patterns that these different varieties are distribute.
Yes, if you have a friend who's growing it, maybe you're growing it, propagate it.
And there, I saw a sign on one of the social media sites. It was at a garden center. It said, taking pieces for propagation is stealing, and we're watching.
That's why I said from a friend. I didn't say, go along the sidewalk.
Or in front of the library. Or at the city hall. It's
wherever it may be.
You pay to the taxes. You can take a piece of plant and go propagate.
But if everybody propagated a piece, there wouldn't be any.
Not everybody's going to ever propagate. You'll be fine.
Anyway, I practice leave no trace. So
do it at dark.
Yeah. So another one I want to mention is Christmas cactus. Christmas cactus blooms around Christmas. So while this is in like the houseplant category, if you're like, I want something fun and it's going to bloom, and the beginning of winter, that's Christmas cactus for you. And then succulents are, I don't really have any experience growing succulents, but a lot of people like to grow them. There's a lot of different varieties.
Low light availability.
Yeah, low light availability. It's a good indoor plant. I also just don't want to, let you forget this. While this is not a flower necessarily or something you're going to eat, but houseplants make a great addition to any home.
You have one above the fridge.
I have one above the fridge. I have a Monstera. I think that's how you say it. And I need to separate it.
It's like 3 years old too.
Maybe 4.
4. It's not.
I'm not even sure.
And when it's one of these things is, the leaves are wilting, we need to water it. We don't pay attention to it at all.
No, we're kind of, and it's.
You're a garden radio host. You should love your plants. We do love our plants, but we have other things going on too. It's not.
Yeah. So if you want a stupid easy plant to grow, get yourself a Monstera. But yeah, and houseplants you can purchase like at grocery stores. You can purchase at like big box stores. You can purchase at your local garden center. They're not hard to find. Sometimes, somebody might gift you a houseplant. So,
but if you're going to go buy a houseplant, let's say you're like, well, I don't have a houseplant. I want to buy a houseplant. Google, go to your favorite search engine and search, simple houseplants. Get a little information. Okay, that one.
Figure out what you might be able to maintain.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, this one needs moisture, no really light. That would be a good bathroom plant. I got a corner in the den that needs, figure out. Just don't go buy something because it's on sale and it looks pretty.
Yeah. Or exactly. Or maybe you should just get some of these fake plants.
There you go.
Yeah. With that being said, something that is real is Walton's. And they have everything you need to go from animal to edible. So at Walton's, you can get the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Walton's has another website called meatgistics.com to help educate people on the hows and whys of meat processing, as well as a community of almost 15,000 users that will help give their opinion and guidance on meat processing issues. And it is the time here where people are harvesting things like
to feed their family in the woods,
deer, bear, here in Wisconsin where we are. So who knows what people are getting out there. So you can go to meatgistics.com. That's the informational site. Walton's has a full line of their meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, and more to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.
And if you're one of these individuals that have no problem eating meat, and if you're a vegetarian or vegan, that's your deal. But if you're one of these people that want to butcher out your own animal, whether you harvest it or you raise it, and you're like, well, I can't because I've never done it. So you never done it. There's YouTube. You can do it. You're the only person stopping you. Well, when we return, we're going to discuss perennial plants that will tolerate and possibly like bad soil. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Are you bugged by bugs? You need naturally green products, No More Bugs, environmentally friendly. Made in the USA, No More Bugs is a cedar blend that repels and eliminates mosquitoes, no-see-ums, ticks, fleas, roaches, ants, and more. No More Bugs is safe for you, your pets, and plants. Available online at nomorebugs.net, Amazon, Walmart.com, and the Home Shopping Network. Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated seed company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG24 to save 10% off your order at jungseed.com. That coupon code is 10TG24 at jungseed.com for 10% off. Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Soil Diva Liquid Microbe Stimulant Spray improves the health of your plants you work hard to grow. Stimulates the natural enzymes and increases beneficial soil bacteria. Go to soildiva.net. Soildiva.net. Water supply tanks provide BPA-free, long-term, safe storage for drinking water from 35 to 1,500-gallon tanks. Water supply tanks has you covered. From preparing for unexpected needs, off-grid property, easy gardening access, and more. For questions and to order, visit watersupplytanks.com and use coupon code GARDENING10 to save 10% off your order. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy you've chose us to spend a little time together. Before we get into the perennial plants that like poor soil, let's talk a little bit about bees with our good friends at Honeybee Healthy.
Since 2000, Honeybee Healthy Inc. has helped beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives, attracting pollinators to your garden. This year is as simple as hanging a hummingbird feeder with a mixture of sugar water and Honeybee Healthy Original. Don't be alarmed to see birds, bees,
and butterflies
dining together at the feeder. Pollinators coexist peacefully. Honeybee Healthy is offering a 10% discount of 8-ounce bottle of Honeybee Healthy Original to this show's listeners. Enter discount code BEEGARDEN, that's BEE Garden. At checkout, for more information, you can go to honeybeehealthy.com.
Perennial plants, those are the ones that come back year after year. Annuals are ones that last one growing season. Not to insult anybody, but to get everybody on the same page of understanding the terminology there. We're going to go over several that will do good in poor soil. We don't all have pristine beds or lawns or components of soil in our backyard, so we have to deal and work with what we got. So let's start with bee balm.
So a lot of these tend to be native plants, which is good, which is positive. You want to plant native plants. So bee balm.
But your mileage may vary based on your native plant area.
Right. So bee balm is also known as wild bergamot, and it can grow almost anywhere. It's good through zones 3 to 9. It does grow well in poor quality soils, and
partial to full sun.
Partial to full sun.
That takes care of everybody there.
Yeah, and it's so I know a lot of times people have problems. You know, one problem area of their garden, maybe it's that spot between the sidewalk and the road, and just maybe it's a high traffic area. Stuff just doesn't do well. A lot of times these plants will do well because they are either native or they grow in poor soil. They're just meant to thrive.
They're very versatile and tough.
Yeah, they're tough. So you could plant.
Like a good woman.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one is, and you can always, look these up. So that was bee balm.
Blue Star is another one.
Blue Star is really cute. It is kind of blue.
It kind of looks like some of the plants we have up at our property. There's a flower up there that we wasn't able to identify, but side note. 3 to 11 in the zone, so that pretty much takes everybody. 2 to 3 foot tall and wide, so this takes up a good chunk of space. So this may not be the ideal plant to put between the sidewalk and the road, that type of area, because it will encroach onto the walkway. And anything that encroaches on the walkway, if you're in the city, you are responsible for that. And if somebody trips and falls, you're responsible for that because you caused issue.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't sit here and quote legalities, but anyway, so
be cautious of what you plant, where you plant. Partial shade to full sun, and chunky clay, sandy, or loomy soil. So it kind of is,
and it has a large taproot, so that's probably why it does well in poor soil.
It reaches down deep.
Yeah.
on that. So, butterfly weed, very pretty flower that you can incorporate into your property. Zones
Orange.
Orange. I don't know why I said yellow. Zone 3 to 9, 1 to 2 foot tall, 1 to 1.5 foot wide. So a good little compact plant, full sun. So that's your warning. This is only a full sun plant. Does well in many types of soil, including clay and sand. And that's the thing. When you see a plant that will do well in clay soil or sandy soil, that means if you do have good soil on your property, it's going to do well too. It's not like, it's great soil, I'm going to die, I'm not going to grow here. So you can see that, and that's a good thing to pay attention to whenever you're looking for the requirements or the recommendations for what grows best in what type of soil.
So the next one is common yarrow. This is a yellow one. So
that's the color yellow. Okay.
If you're gonna make a little garden, you wanted to have some contrast, you could do the blue star and the common yarrow, the blue with the yellow.
Colors of the rainbow.
Very, yeah, exactly. So it's very hardy. People will, I guess, it's been seen blooming on old copper mines in Colorado. So
there you go. KHNZ 1360. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it does get 2 to 3 feet tall, 1.5 feet to 2 feet wide, not terribly wide, zones 3 to 9, and this is a full sun to part shade in a loamy or a sandy soil.
Daylilies. Now this is the plant that it seems like everybody seems to grow. Everybody you go to has at least a daylily. They're in front of, City Hall. They're in front of churches. They're in front of daylilies. Multitude of different colors. I mean, you can pick any color you want. Their daylily probably comes in that color.
There's varieties. There'll be ones that are like kind of purpley on the outside and white on the inside. I don't like daylilies. I think they're kind of ugly.
I think they're too bulky.
Yeah.
When I say it can get 6 inches to 5.5 foot tall based on the variety, and 2 to 4 foot wide. And it appears, and at your mom's residence, she has them growing along the side of the house, and no matter how many times you dig them up or you try to get rid of them, they come back stronger and stronger. So can prefer full sun, but can tolerate partial shade and manage and is good in sandy and clay soil. But yeah, they are very resistant plants. But you can get very smaller, compact ones, or the very large ones that many of us may be familiar with. But like you said, a pick a color, and you can find a daylily in that color.
Absolutely. So the next one is false indigo, and this is a larger plant. It has it kind of looks like the plant structure of lavender a little bit. It is a bluish color, and it's good options for zone 3 to 9, partial to full sun. It has a taproot as well, and I think it's part of the legume family. Let me just double check here. Yeah, so it is part of the legume family, so which is like a bean basically. It's not a bean itself. It's not going to produce beans, but it's part of that family origination.
Goldenrod. Now you can see goldenrod in the ditches, in the country, roadsides, pretty much anywhere, especially this time of year, later in summer and early fall. It is just a blanket of yellow, bright color, and it's a tall, long-stemmed plant, zones 4 to 8, 2 to 3 foot tall, 1.5 to 2 foot wide, requires full to partial sun. And we see that a lot in our travels, and there's just open meadows of goldenrod as far as the eye can see in some places, and the bees are incredibly attracted to this. Due to they're not running out, but it is an easy food source now in the late portions of summer, early fall.
Absolutely. Goldenrod, if you're not familiar, it can spread, so keep that in mind. Might be a good
But if you're
option.
looking for a native, a meadow that you just want to go into a native state, goldenrod, once you plant, you're gonna be good to go on that.
So cone flowers, these are cute little plants that the bees also love. I've seen the bees, being very friendly with them. They are a native Eastern Northern America plant. I know I've seen them here in the Midwest, and they have a few different colors as well. They have a range of colors. They're more of a petally flower, so if you like something that is
a large center with smaller petals around. Yeah.
Reminds you like of a daisy, a petally flower like that. Cone flowers are that they do need the full sun. So keep that in mind. They really want that full sun.
Now, lavender is a plant in which you can grow full sun, and it does well in most soils, zone 5A to 9A. So as the USDA re-racked the growing zones this past spring, that should include a few more people. It can get 2 to 3 foot tall and spread to 2 to 4 foot wide. Now, this is one plant, and it is a plant that will come back year after year and continue to grow and create a carpet of foliage or vegetation in an area that otherwise may not do very well. Now, the issue that we have had growing lavender in our garden as just a annual is the germination. We have had very difficult challenges in order to get the lavender to germinate. So if you have been one of those gardeners, getting lavender from the garden center that is already growing may be the best and only option you have instead of trying to wrestle with trying to get the seeds to germinate. And once you establish it in an area, then it will maintain itself for many years to come. Full sun is what it requires as well.
There you go, lavender. So another one is New England aster. Many people are familiar with asters. There's a lot of varieties, but the New England one does well in the poor soil. It does provide a lot of nectar for fall pollinators, and you do want to give them space to grow. They can, they don't want to be cramped. I'm pretty sure it's all asters, but this one is for sure. You don't want to cramp them, give them space to grow, and they will thrive and do well. I know they are different aster varieties are native to the United States in general, so keep that in mind.
Generally 4 to 8 in the zones there. Rosemary, perennial herb that will come back year after year. Now, the thing with this is, I didn't know rosemary would come back year after year. I never been able to get it grow. You might be thinking that, and you are not able to grow it year after year and have it as a perennial because it's zone 8 to 10. So it's more of a southern perennial than a northern perennial where most of our stations are at. 2 to 6 foot tall it can get and can grow up to 2 to 4 foot wide and requires full sun. It will grow in rocky and infertile soil very easily. So it is a warmer perennial. So keep that in mind. Now, if you're able to, let's say you have some rosemary growing, you can overwinter it in the form of, putting some straw bales around it and covering it with some row covers in order to try to keep it warmer than the environment around it is, to try to overwinter it. That is an option as well.
All right, so then we also have mountain mint, and this one spans grow zones from 2 to 8. So 2 is not one we see a lot. For grow zones.
That is cold.
Yeah, it is cold. And it has silvery green leaves, and then it has these like whitish, pinkish blooms. It does have more of a shallow root system, but because of that, it has the ability to access what it needs easily and does well with the shallow root system that it has. It can grow in clay, sandy, or loamy soil that is dry, medium, or moist. So that's probably why it does well in zone 2. It sounds like it's pretty hardy.
Yeah. Well, those are just some perennials in which it will work in poor soil. And Holly, summer is over in most places. The nights are getting colder. The kids are back in school, but you've forgotten about your lawn. And if you have done that, you're going to have problems come this spring.
Just because it's fall, we don't want to forget about our yards and those Japanese beetles either. They may be gone, but they're not far. Not only did they feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs on your turf so you can start again next year. Take a stand with Phylum's Grub Gun. Grub Gun is a non-chemical BT granular that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply apply the granule with a spreader, irrigate it into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Not only is GrubGone easy to use, but the best part about it, it's a non-chemical choice. It's the only non-chemical choice to effectively control grubs. And the best part about it is non-toxic to bees and other beneficial insects and pollinators. So you don't have to worry about them picking up the toxicity that other chemicals would leave, and they toxified their home and hives. You can find all this out at GrubGone from PhyllomeBioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM Bioproducts.com, the natural choice. Hang out with us when we return. Mike VanDuzee, YouTuber, will be with us. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow year-round. Strongest greenhouses that will last a lifetime. From agricultural to lounging to entertaining. For more information, go to wisconsingreenhousecompany.com. Got a landscape project left on your to-do list that you're not going to get to? Let the trained team of specialists at David J. Frank Landscaping handle it. Fall is also a good time to improve your lawn for next year. Strengthen your lawn with overseeding and aeration. Schedule a fall cleanup or fall planting and winterizing your yard before the cold sets in. Get a free quote at davidjfrank.com.
Mantis tillers, the premium long-lasting gas-powered tillers, are the perfect solution for any garden. This Mantis machine is available with 2 or 4 cycle engines with a 19-inch or 16-inch tilling width. Your DIY companion in your garden and your lawn converts easily for edging, aerating, and more with optional attachments. Find details at mantis.com.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to be part of your day. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Mike VanDuzee is the creator of the YouTube channel Keep On Growing. He teaches people how to grow hydroponically with ease and affordability methods of an off-grid style. He has a passion for everyone to grow their own food anywhere. Welcome to the program, Mike.
Hey, thank you.
Well, we want to thank you for taking time out of your day to help educate Holly and myself and all of our listeners. And I'll start with this. There's many different types of growing out there, and you grow hydroponically. For people who have heard the term but are not familiar with the method, what is that method and how do you execute it?
Okay, hydroponics is basically growing with no soil, and it's putting plants into nutrient-rich water. There's different kinds of hydroponics. There's aquaponics, which involves fish, and aeroponics, which has the water is turned into like a mist instead of just placing it in the water. And I think NASA is actually growing plants in space with aeroponics. But I do just hydroponics, and more so I go a little bit off-grid. I use pumps in that once in a while, but mostly off-grid so that, just about anybody can get into it.
Now, if for a new beginner, what would you recommend?
Maybe basically it's what they refer to as Kratky hydroponics, because this one guy, Dr. Kratky, he was a professor out in Hawaii. He was doing experiments with it because they have a tough time getting produce, out to the island out there, and they're off-grid. Lots of the places, the infrastructure gets tore down by like volcanoes and that. And so they're trying to teach people how to grow their own food out there and without all of the electricity and everything. So hydroponics generally has a bunch of pumps and filters and meters and auto dosing equipment and all kinds of stuff. And he just continued to work about trying to do it where you're just taking plants and put them in nutrient rich water, do as little maintenance to it as possible, and grow you some food.
Fantastic. So why do you think people are hesitant to grow hydroponically, and how would you encourage people to get past that?
One big thing there's a couple of things about the biggest thing I hear all the time is kind of a myth that hydroponic grown food doesn't have any flavor. And I think maybe somebody either, just tasted the wrong one or didn't realize, what they were eating, or just heard like rumors and that because they think it's not grown in soil, that it doesn't have any flavor, but they don't realize that they've probably eaten a lot of hydroponically grown food because there's a lot of commercial farms doing that now because it saves on electricity, space, water. It only uses about 1/10 of the water that a traditional garden uses. And there's a lot of places that you can't really grow a traditional garden, but you can set up a hydroponic garden just about anywhere.
Now, is there any challenges when it comes to growing hydroponically? I know that some people say you got to make sure the pH is right or the right level of nutrients. You got to check this, you got to check that. What is the biggest challenge once somebody begins doing this and then, okay, I understand that now it's more smooth sailing because I've overcome that challenge?
Yeah, in the beginning, I was wanting to grow my own food, so I was trying to grow traditional gardens, and me and my wife were on the road all the time, and we would be gone for like up to a week or week and a half at a time. So I was trying to figure out something else, and hydroponics kind of caught my attention. And in the beginning, I tried to do all of that. I went and bought all of the fancy equipment and tried to take care of everything in pumps and filters, and it just got like way too expensive for my taste. And I wanted to do it cheap and easy so that, I didn't have to spend a ton of money to grow some lettuce. And I was working full time with my wife, so we're on the road. So besides putting in a full day somewhere, we were also driving a couple hours back and forth every day. So, you're working like 12 to 14 hours a day. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to come home and spend in the garden. So I was trying to make it as easy as possible too. And if people would know how to do that, I think more and more people would do it. I try to make it so that when my mom was still around, it was something that, I could just take over to her house and say, hey, give this a try. You just put the plant in here and keep an eye on the nutrient level, and, things will be all right. And if I told her she had to actually meter check the pH and check the EC levels, and then here's how you put the pH up, and this is how you put the pH down, and then you have to recheck it. She just wanted to do all that. So I tried to make almost everything that I do something that's, so simple, that just about anyone can do it.
Right. And when you're doing 12, 14 hours a day, you just want to go home and sit down. You don't want to go spend I got to spend an hour and a half in the garden doing this. You just want to be done.
Right. Exactly.
So tell us more about your YouTube channel. I know you had mentioned the method that you utilize. What can people expect when they come to your YouTube channel to check out your hydroponic growing education?
Well, mine's like we were talking about. We're just trying to make it easy and affordable so that just about anyone can do it. And when you're talking about like gardening, I think everyone out there, just about everyone, if they could have a traditional garden, they would. But some people don't have the time, energy, money. Some people are older. They can't do the weeding and tilling and stuff anymore. And some people live in apartments. So, I think that everyone should know how to grow at least a little bit of their food. And whether you do it or not, just having that knowledge is just powerful. And then providing for yourself or your family and your friends, and taking care of part of your grocery bill on your own is an empowering feeling.
Now, people who are, they've heard of hydroponics, how much space would you say that one would need in order to get started? And for you, how much space are you utilizing even with your more simplistic way of growing hydroponically? You don't have to have hundreds of square foot, do you?
No, and actually I'm going to start on my channel within the next month, and that when it starts to get cold. I live here in Florida, and we can grow almost year round outside. But, when I show videos, me growing like in January or something, people are, have like 2 foot of snow, going, well, that's, lucky for you, but I can't do that. So when I get into the colder months, I start growing inside, even though I don't have to. So this year I'm putting up a 3-foot, one of the steel racks, the metal racks.
Right.
And I had one up last year, and we're just going to jam pack it and see how much we can grow in just a couple of square feet inside the house with minimal grow lights and minimal maintenance.
What is a common challenge in hydroponic growing, and how have you overcome that challenge in your journey?
Well, one thing is all of the technical stuff like you were mentioning, and there's a lot of, you have to kind of keep balance with your nutrients. You have to check your pH in traditional hydroponics, and most of them have pumps and it's flowing water. And then you have to have filters because then your pumps get clogged up really easy. And a lot of people, when they start looking into that, and then if you're going to be indoors, you got grow lights on top of that, so they start looking at all of that, or they'll go to a hydroponic shop and say, I want to get started, what I need. And they're like this. And, before you know it, it's over $1,000, to grow a $20 worth of lettuce. So I got to doing cheap and easy because I was putting videos out. I started a channel and putting videos out, and some girl said, I hate when somebody says something's cheap and easy and it's not. And I thought I was doing as cheap as I could, but I said, I'm sorry. And, I thought it was. And she said she didn't mean it, but she was homeless and sleeping on someone's couch and eating out of a dumpster. And it's, I just felt helpless because she was on the other side of the planet. And that's what like social media does, it connects us all over the world. And there's, not much I could do, but I decided that instead of going out and getting fancy stuff, as you start to grow bigger, you start getting more equipment and get more things and making more videos. I decided to go the other direction and make it as cheap and as easy as possible as I could. And then when I figured that out, maybe I can, scale up going the other way. So my channel the first couple of years has just been focused on just doing cheap and easy, and just so that people around the world, know how to grow some of their own food.
And you may have felt hopeless, but she was able to guide you in a way that you didn't know you could go.
Right. Exactly.
In your hydroponic journey, has there been something that you didn't know that you could grow hydroponically, that you were successful, and what limitations are there? Obviously, you probably can't grow sweet corn or anything like that, but what limitations are there when it comes to hydroponics, or are there?
Yeah, let's say some plants don't like the root sweat all the time. So if you kind of know, what kind of plants they like the roots to dry out a little. Obviously, they won't do good in hydroponics. Leafy greens, if you look into commercial hydroponic farms and, what they're doing commercially and selling at the store, that's a sure giveaway, what works. But I do a lot of leafy greens and I do what we call the continuous harvest system. And I like to grow things that grow fast. And so we'll grow a lot of microgreens, which in 7 to 10 days, you've got something to eat. And then we take those and move those into the hydroponics, into the bigger containers. And then in a couple of weeks, you've got baby greens, which at the store, that's kind of expensive right now. It's running, $4.99 and $7.99. And you can just grow loads of it, in the system. And then you can keep some of those around and grow out even bigger as some cut and come again crops. And then at the same time, start your microgreens all over again so that you've always got all of these different greens and herbs going, at any given time.
Right.
Well, Mike, we've really enjoyed having you on the program. How can people find your YouTube channel and all of your great information?
It's Keep On Growing with Mike VanDuzee.
All right. Yeah. And you said in the next month or so, you're going to do the series of packing everything as much as you can grow and seeing what limitations or lack thereof you have.
Yes, sir. Getting that set up right now.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, we greatly appreciate the time you've offered us and the knowledge you've shared with Holly, myself, and all of our listeners. We thank you for your time, your knowledge, and the best with your new project coming up.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice meeting y'all.
Absolutely. And when we return, is your garden questions and our garden answers. You're tuned into the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Take the guesswork out of composting with the AeroBin 400 or smaller 200 for easy composting. The AeroBin mimics how nature decomposes waste. The AeroBin is easy to use. You prepare your balanced organic waste, just open it up, drop it in, and close. After a short time, fertile compost is produced, which is easily accessed via the lower side door. The thermal insulation in the AeroBin conserves heat, leading to rapid breakdown of the biomass and works efficiently year-round, even in cooler regions. There is no need to turn the biomass, and it is patent rodent resistant. It has little odor and can kill annoying weeds and seeds. It is BPA free. The AeroBin 400 or 200 comes with a reservoir at the bottom to collect the leachate. When diluted, makes for great compost tea liquid fertilizer. AeroBin composts kitchen and garden waste quickly. Easy to assemble with no special tools needed. The AeroBin makes composting rewarding and easy. Go to burpee.com or homedepot.com to purchase. Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com. Use promo code RADIO10 to save 10% off. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores. And
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. That coupon code is ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts. Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com.
Wind River chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Welcome back to the Garden with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along today. Time for your garden questions and our garden answers. You got a question, you can send it over, submit it for us to answer at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can send us give us a call, toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Had a couple of questions come in this week on the hotline, so we'll address those right now. First, we'll go to...
This is Ilona out of Highland, Michigan, listening on Wham Radio 1600 AM. My question is, when is the best time to put compost in the garden, spring or fall? Thank you.
Lona is a longtime listener and supporter of the program. We appreciate you listening to us on WAAM 1600 AM and 92.7 FM out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Compost can be applied any time of year. If you have it building up and you need to distribute it and get it out of your pile, you can address it and just apply it in the fall. You can also apply it in the spring. It's not going to it's not like fertilizer where if you apply it in the fall, it's a waste because it's going to diminish in value, in nutrient level by spring. So you can go ahead and top dress your beds in the fall. You can top dress them in the spring. There is no wrong answer to when to apply the fertilizer, Holly.
No, absolutely not. There's a compost.
And now, as we're getting into late summer, now officially fall, there are garden centers who you want to call up and pay attention to, because they may have sales on the compost in which they have, because they're wanting to move it for their new shipment in the spring type of thing. So there is an opportunity. And if you're going to purchase compost, I would recommend, if you are able to, purchase in bulk. Now, not everybody's financially able to do such, and or able to, go and get the compost. Many and almost all of these garden centers have the available resources in order to deliver the compost to your property. There is an added fee to that. But in the overall calculation of compost per square foot versus bag material, you are hundreds of dollars cheaper by buying 1, 2, or 3 yards of compost. And a yard of compost is if you had a box that was 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot across a square and 3 foot high and 3 foot deep. That is how much compost is 1 cubic foot. So let's just do the math here. Holly, you want to get your little calculator out? You got one handy there? Let's do a little radio math here.
Radio math.
Let's say a yard of compost is $40, and you're going to get 3 yards of compost. That's $120.
You need me to calculate that?
Plus, let's say the delivery fee is $60.
Okay.
And what do you have there?
$180.
Now, let's say that you want to go buy bagged compost from your garden center because it's on sale for $15 a bag, and
that's a cubic
foot.
Yeah.
So you need, let's say $10 a bag, and you'll need 100 bags.
That's a lot. That's $1,000.
You're going to look at 1,000. So, that would be
Why would you need 100 bags?
100 cubic foot.
Oh.
Divide that by 3. That's about 30. Anyway, my point is, it's fractional compared to, because we've bought compost in bulk, and we paid it was like I think it was $250 or something for so much. And if we would have bought that same, and I remember this, if we would have we paid like $180 for the compost and $60 for the delivery fee.
Yeah.
So whatever that figures out, about $230. If we would have bought that same quantity in bags, we were going to spend over $600 in bags, and that wasn't even to get it to the garden. That was, we would have to go and pick it up in a vehicle and get it. So it's a fraction, and just be aware of that. It's a fraction. All right, let's go to Chicago, Joliet area.
Hi there, this is Frank calling from Joliet, Illinois, listening to WJOL. A friend of mine was telling me that, I have skunks, and they come and go, they're tearing up my yard. I don't have any sheds, anything for them to hide under, so they're like passing through. And I was told they have a chemical or a product called Critter Away, pellets or a liquid you can make up. And I talked to a trapper, and he wanted a bunch of money to set traps out, and so I'm going to check them for 7 to 10 days. So I thought I would start with this stuff first, and I put down powder in the yard, but it's so drought. We haven't rained here in about 5 weeks, so it's hard as a rock. And I watered it with the sprinkler, but I don't know if it kills the grubs. That's what they're digging up, I assume. And do coyotes eat skunks or kill them? We have a few in the neighborhood coming up from creeks in the area, which we've never had before. Appreciate your help.
Well, Frank, we appreciate you listening to us on WJOL 1340 AM out of the Joliet area. And we'll start backwards here with your question in regards to do coyotes eat skunks? They do in a pinch. Mostly the predator of the skunk is hawks and owls. and eagles are the main predators of skunks. The birds can quickly strike and take the skunk up. Mammals, coyotes, foxes, dogs, bobcats, mountain lions may eat skunks, but usually will only resort to them if there is no other food available, which I guess if you're going to eat a skunk, you better be pretty hungry if you're going to capture a skunk due to the potent smell that they would deliver in a survival method. So that answers that question. In regards to removal of the skunks in your yard, they're eating the grubs in the yard. So phylum bioproducts, grub gone is an option. There are other removable methods, and you once we received this question, you did reach out to Frank and had a conversation with him.
Right. So so trapping them is one choice, and then
and trapping them is a different. If you're going to have, it's not like you're trapping a possum or a raccoon.
No,
a skunk will disperse the spray.
Right.
So professional may be best to pay in order to have these removed.
Yeah. So it turns out also that Frank was having issue with the skunks digging up the grubs in the most like dead parts or dormant parts of his yard. So I suggested, and then also when he applied whatever he applied to the
chemical application
to the soil, it said to water it well, and it's possible that he did not water it well enough because at this point we had within the region there had not been much rain. So I suggested watering it in a bit better, and then the skunks are passing through looking for food, so deterring them could be one option, or just hoping that they continue to move
There
on.
are motion sensors in which you can apply. There are
the lights.
Yeah. There are sprinkler systems in which motion and then shoots water at a particular animal to keep them out of your yard. So there are options. Simply, this might be one of those situations where if you don't want to have to pay to have them removed, it might be one of these tolerate it until the season changes and they go elsewhere.
That's kind of what it seems like, or using, again, the light to startle them, and just making sure that they don't feel that they should stick around.
And don't threaten them because they will, spray you.
Yeah, retaliate, I guess. Yeah.
All right, next question, Holly.
How to stop squirrels from digging up my flower beds. I heard that I can take, or dig at my flower bulbs. I heard that I can take those flower bulbs and dip them in chili powder and then bury them. Will that help?
Well, that will help, but by the time the squirrel gets a hold of them, they've already dug them up.
Right.
So applying or planting them at the proper depth and then taking chicken wire or poultry fencing based on your regional terminology and layering that over top of where the bulbs are and then applying mulch on top of that to hold that fencing down, or you can use logs or whatever, would, by the time when they get the mulch removed, they're going to hit that metal wire and they're not going to be able to dig any further, in which they will go elsewhere and find something else to dig up instead of your bulbs. So you could do both. You can also, if you don't want to try to find poultry wire or have to buy a certain footage, you can plant them and then sprinkle the chili powder over top of that area. However, when it rains, you're going to have to reapply. And depending on how many squirrels you have digging these up, once you apply that chili powder, if the squirrels get that, they're not going to come back because they're going to remember that was not a good experience.
Right.
So making sure you get all the neighborhood squirrels to ingest that chili powder so nobody digs it up before the rain may be a challenge as well.
It might be easier at that point just to use the poultry netting.
Let's see, real quickly here. First, let's see. First year in raised bed gardening, I use a soaker hose in all my beds. Should I blow the hose out before winter and store it inside?
Yeah, I would do both. I would blow the hose out if you can, and then store them inside.
The soaker hose typically is applied above the bed. Now, with our situation, we have a main feed coming from the house faucet, which is 6 inches underground. Well above, it's in the freeze zone. And each bed has dripper lines to them. So what I do at the end of the year is I will at the end of the main feed, there is a flush out, and I open that flush out, and I take, because we don't have an air compressor, we utilize what we have. You can use a shot vac. We use an upright vacuum that has a export port on it where you can blow air out of it. So I will attach it with tape to the end that would normally attach to the faucet that goes to the house. Open the end of the main feed and let it run for about 10 minutes, and that blows all that water out. And what little residue of water is left in the drip line or in the main feed line does not damage the hose over winter. What happens is if you leave water, excess of water in there, water freezes, expands, and will crack your hose or your drip lines or your emitters. So that is how we tackle that. Well, we've come to the portion of the program where we discuss what we learned today. What did you learn today?
I learned about, is it called aeroponics?
Aeroponics.
Yeah, where the plant roots, they get kind of misted, and that's how they grow. Thought that was interesting.
And that the cracky method was developed in Hawaii. I learned that. Didn't know where that had developed from. I had heard the method many times, but never knew the origins of it. What we learned today is brought to you by Honey Be Healthy.
Honey Be Healthy is serious about the business of bees and helping beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Whether you're a professional beekeeper or a bee hobbyist, we've got the products to help you maintain a healthy hive. Honey Be Healthy products are made in the USA. You can visit honeybehealthy.com for more information. Tune in next week,
where we will be discussing snacks in which can be made homemade and are much healthier for you. You may not have known that you can do that, as well as more to pumpkins than jack-o'-lanterns and pies. And we are still working on securing a guest for next week's show. It's just real radio. Being honest with you, we'll get a guest, and they will be wonderful. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.